Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of the Podiatry Legends podcast. Podcast designed to help you feel, see, and think differently about the podiatry profession. Today, it's a solo episode, but it's a little bit different. It's going to be slightly extended. And what I want to talk about is my 30 videos in 30 days. So in July, I was part of an accountability group with the Podiatry Business Spartans. And each month we get together and we set a goal on what we're going to do for the month. And I said, well, I want to get back into the habit of shooting more regular videos, which I used to do a long time ago. So I said, I'm going to set a goal. I'm going to shoot 30 short videos in 30 days. So that's exactly what I did. And each of those videos I uploaded to my YouTube account. So if you go to Tyson Franklin Podiatry Business Coach, you'll see all the videos there. Now, I know most of the videos, a lot of the same people commented, liked them. So I thought I would do an overview of what those 30 videos were and put it together as a podcast episode and see what you think. So I'm just going to run through them in order of what it is. So the first episode was just called 30-Day Accountability. And it was really just explaining what the podcast was really all about and why I came up with the idea. Then the second episode was called Confirmation Bias. Now, the thing with confirmation bias and why I wanted to talk about it, and especially now with the pandemic and people, some people are anti-vaxxers, some are for vaccines. And that wasn't really why I wanted to mention the whole confirmation bias. But what confirmation bias is when you already have a belief in a certain area and you will exclude any evidence that will tell you what you believe is wrong, and you'll only take note of the evidence that already backs up what you already believe. So you have some bias towards that information. And I think it's really important in podiatry and it could be how an orthotic is made. It could be a type of material. It could be foot mobilization. It could be dry needling. There's a lot of different areas of podiatry where some people will already have a bit of confirmation bias. Some people that just 100% have blinkers on that foot mobilization is the only way that you should be treating your patients. And there'll be other people that believe more about how long you should be bare feet, and other people, the type of shoes that you're wearing. So the reason I brought that particular episode up was because I wanted you just to remind yourself that when evidence is presented to you, is don't just exclude something if it goes against what you already believe, is have a look at it, read through the information, and then make an intelligent decision. Don't let your own biases that you already have affect what you end up doing. So video number 3 went on to what I call the bandwagon effect. Now, the bandwagon effect is where you jump on board something, but you won't do it right from the start. You'll only do it once you see everybody else starting to do it, and it looks like it's something popular. And you see this a lot when they were first doing like the ice bucket challenge and the push-up challenges. And a lot of people are like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. But once they saw everybody else doing it, they started getting on board. I think the same thing happens in podiatry, where you might see there's something new. Well, I'll stick with, say, foot mobilization and dry needling, those types of skills. And you've got to stop and think before jumping on and saying, yes, that's something that I want to do, is really think about, does it suit the type of practice that you have? Does it suit the type of patients that you have? Do you really need to have that skill, or you're only doing foot mobilization or dry needling or different taping courses or exercise and rehab because everybody else is doing it? And when I've done some of my coaching groups and I've actually asked people, who here has done foot mobilization? People put their hand up. Who's done dry needling? They put their hand up. I mentioned a few other things. Everyone's put their hand up. I go, who here actually uses it in their business every day? And a few people will put their hand up. I go, who here charges extra for doing that service? And even less people put their hand up. And a lot of them will agree they did it because everybody else was doing it. So that was what the bandwagon effect was all about. Video 4, when I did it, was all about, do you need Instagram? That was what it was all about. And I know there's a lot of podiatrists have Instagram accounts, and there's some podiatrists have very, very successful Instagram accounts. But do you need to have an Instagram account? That's the part that I wanted everybody to think about, is have a look at the time and effort it takes to have your Instagram account. And is that where your patients are? Are your patients following you on Instagram? And if they're not, find out where your patients are. Maybe that's the social media platform you need to be on. Maybe spending more time doing YouTube videos and linking them to your website and Facebook is far better than setting up an Instagram account. Only you will know that. And I think it's advisable to talk to your patients. And you'll even notice, even my own Instagram account, I was posting a lot of stuff there at one stage, and now I've cut back a little bit, and the numbers really haven't changed too much. So just give that some thought. So it goes on to video number 5, was the 4 M's of marketing. So to explain what the 4 M's of marketing were all about, hang on, let me just, see, I had a bit of a glitch then. So the 4 M's of marketing was the next video. And the 4 M's of marketing, the main part with it was, the first part is, who is your market? Who are you actually marketing to? So first part was market. The second part was message. What is the message that you are going to be saying to your market? The third part of the 4 M's was where are you going to do this? So what medium are you going to choose? And then the fourth part is just managing it. So to go over the 4 parts, it's market, message, medium, and manage. So they were the 4 parts of the 4 M's of marketing. Sorry, I get tongue-tied there. So back to the next video. I'm running through these actually. Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to video 5. Let me just stop that for a sec. One of those videos just shot out in front of me. So video number 6 was the 3 types of marketing. So you might be wondering, okay, what are the 3 types of marketing? Pretty much, when it comes to marketing, there's only 3 ways to actually do it. One is paid marketing. The second part are partnerships. And the third part is content marketing. So paid marketing is and that could be, say, for example, a newspaper. When you actually pay that newspaper, they will advertise and they will market your business for you. As soon as you stop doing that, it ends. Partnerships is where you find someone that you might have you're sharing the same sort of database or the same patients that you want to attract, and you work with them to get your marketing message out. But the third part, the content marketing, the best thing about that is something that you own. So when you create content and you put it, whether it's on social media or it's on your own website, especially on your own website, is you own all that information. So that is really, really important to remember. So this led on to video number, let me just close that one down. Video number 7 was a confused mind says no. Now, what I meant by that particular video was, when you're explaining something to a patient, keep it simple. If you're telling them there's 4 or 5 different treatment options that's available to them, that will confuse them. What you are best to do is give them the best treatment option and let them decide whether that's something that is going to suit them or whether it's not going to suit them. And like I always say, a confused mind says no. Think of yourself, if you've ever been talking to a salesman and you'll ask a question about a TV and they just start rambling on with all this stuff. Unless you're really, really interested, it's just going over your head. You don't really care. You just want to know about that particular TV, not all these other features. And the more that they tell you, sometimes if you start getting a little bit confused, the safe option is to say no and walk away until you feel more confident that you can actually go back. So just remember that when you're talking to your patients, don't give them too many treatment options. Keep it simple, because an unconfused mind will say yes and will follow the advice that you follow. This led on to video number 8, which was helicopter marketing. And helicopter marketing is pretty much what people tend to do is when they're busy, they don't do any marketing or any advertising. When they're quiet, they do a lot of marketing and advertising. So what happens is the business goes up and they're doing all the marketing. And then as it gets busy, they stop doing all the marketing and it comes all the way back down again. It keeps going up and down, up and down. With a helicopter, they reckon it uses so much more fuel and energy to get off the ground every time it comes to a standstill than the amount of fuel it uses when it's actually coasting along. So it's the same with your business. The same with your podiatry clinic is, once you're marketing your business, just keep it going. Yes, you're going to have times where you're really busy, but just keep the marketing going. Don't stop just because you get busy. When you do that, if you stop your marketing, it's so hard to actually get the momentum going again. So video 10 was all about your children are listening. And what I meant by that particular video was, hang on, let me just go back to this one sec. I lost What was interesting about this particular video that when I shot it, it wasn't really related to business so much. It was just related to life in general. And that was something I wanted to point out when I was doing these videos, even though a lot of them tended to be aimed towards business. If you think about it, some of the things I was actually talking about just relate to life in general, especially like confirmation bias, bandwagon effect. So the thing about your children are listening, it was really wanted people to understand that when they are talking, the words that they use when they come home can have a positive or negative effect on their children. So if you've had a bad day at work, you haven't been enjoying your job, you're feeling a little bit down. If you come home and every day, everything that comes out of your mouth is very, very negative, your children are actually hearing that. So even if you've had a bad day, I think sometimes you just got to be really aware on where your children are, who is listening, and remember that the words that come out of your mouth, they actually hear. So that was why I actually shot that video. So to go to the next one after that was, let me just close that one down. Video 11 was live above the line. And what that one's about is a lot of times people they never take responsibility for anything that goes wrong. It's always somebody else's fault. So it doesn't matter what happens. They're ready to point the finger and blame somebody else for anything that goes wrong in life instead of taking responsibility. And I heard someone tell the story once where they said, yeah, if you were driving your car, you put on the brakes and somebody ran up your bum, is that your fault? And then someone was going, well, no, it's not the person behind me. Yeah, it's their fault. And the person who's describing this story said, well, actually, you are still partly to blame because you chose to hop in your car that day. You chose to drive. You chose to actually leave at that specific time. If you left a minute later, it wouldn't have been that person that ran up your bum. So he was saying everything in life, you've got to take some responsibility for it. And he called that basically living above the line. People who live below the line are the people that blame everybody for everything that happens in their life and they take no responsibility for it. So if your business is great, that's great. If your business isn't doing as well as what it should, do not blame other people. Do not point the finger and say, oh, they must be breaking the rules, or yeah, I would have had a better podiatry clinic if. It's just take responsibility for where you are. Decide you're going to live above the line and tell you it's a lot better place to be. Video 12 was called Price Wars. It was pretty much always say, just don't get into a price war when it's got to do with your business. Somebody else opens up down the road and they want to be the cheapest podiatry clinic, let them be the cheapest podiatry clinic. Don't try and compete with them. It just doesn't. If they go cheaper and then you try and go cheaper, all you're doing is like a race to the bottom. Whatever your fees are, and you think it's a reasonable fee, the service that you offer, and you've got a reasonable fee, and somebody undercuts you, let them undercut you. All they're going to do is take the patients that are looking for the cheapest podiatrist. You don't want to be the cheapest podiatrist. You want to be the best podiatrist in your area. You want to provide the best service, and you want to get paid accordingly for the service that you're actually delivering. So do not get into price wars. Video 13, this one was funny. This was called Not About Knees. And the reason I call it Not About Knees, one was to grab everyone's attention, which it sort of did. But this particular video was more of showing you why you don't necessarily need to be in the video when you're doing a video. So sometimes people being like, I'm shooting, as I'm recording this for the podcast, I'm also shooting the video for the YouTube channel. And I don't always do it, just depends how I feel. When I have a guest on, I do always do the video, unless they're not looking too good that day and they say, can we please not do the video? And then I don't. So this particular one, Not About Knees, was not about knees. It was, I did a PowerPoint presentation, recorded it, talked over the top, and just showed how you could do a video without necessarily being in the video yourself. And it can still have a lot of impact when you shoot a video and you're not in it. So if you don't like being in front of a camera, this is a great way of doing it. So go and check out that. It was video 13 called Not About Knees. This led on to video 14, which was reset your goals, which pretty much says exactly what it is. If you've set a goal and you haven't exactly hit it, then just reset it and start again. Don't give up on the goal. Just because you miss it doesn't mean that you should throw it away and then come up with a whole new goal. I know some people, when it comes to New Year's resolutions, and they will say, oh, these are my New Year's resolutions this year, and they'll write them all down. And sometimes I will actually say to people, why don't you just complete the resolutions you were going to do last year and the year before that, before you start setting some new ones? So if you've had some goals and you haven't quite reached them, don't throw them in, don't throw in the towel, get some help, talk to some people around you, and then reset the goal if it's what you really needed or what you really wanted. So some people, they'll set a goal, they'll go for it, they don't hit it, and they throw it in and they go and do something else, probably because the goal they set wasn't really what they were after. So, and I know I've done that myself. When I've aimed for something, I haven't got it, and all of a sudden I've changed the goal. And when I think about it, I realize, you know what, that goal that I set wasn't really that important. And then I've set one that was more important. So if you're really keen about the goal, the thing you want to achieve, you will actually get there. Number 15 was titled, I'm Vaccinated. Now, to give you an idea what that was actually about, this video wasn't really about whether you should or should not be vaccinated. It was about making educated decisions based on the evidence that is presented to you. That's what that video was about. So when you're trying to decide on whether you should or shouldn't do something, look at the evidence and make an educated decision. Don't decide that you're going to do something or not do something because your best friend's mother's neighbor who was at CrossFit talking to somebody across the road said such and such. And I think when it comes to podiatry, when it comes to different types of courses, different types of education models, is do your own research and figure out, is this going to be good for you? Is it going to be good for you as career-wise? Is it going to be good for your business? And it sort of relates almost to like the bandwagon effect. Don't just jump on board because everybody else is doing it. Is make an educated decision based on the evidence that is presented to you. Video 16 was called Freedom of Choice. Now, this one was based on a Devo song. And in the Devo song, well, I'll go to the lyrics because I actually wrote them down here with my notes. And what was funny in the lyrics, it said, freedom of choice is what you got. Freedom from choice is what you want. Now, what is funny about that is in the actual song lyrics, it goes through and it talks about a dog that had two bones, and it licked one, it licked the other, it went in circles and it dropped dead. Now, I know that sounds really, really weird, but what I was talking about is sometimes when you have too many choices, it gets confusing. This almost goes back to the other video, a confused mind says no. So that's why I did this video, that sometimes it's just freedom of choice. We think we want a freedom of choice and we want all these options, but really we don't. The less options, the better. So just keep that in mind when you're actually talking to patients, that give them less options because you don't want them going around in circles and dropping dead like the dog did in that song. Which are crazy, crazy lyrics, I must admit. Then video 17 was I Don't Have Time for Marketing. Once again, that title is pretty self-explanatory. And there's a lot of people who say, oh, I don't have time for marketing. We've all got 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. If you really want to do marketing, you want to get better at marketing, you will set the time aside to learn more about it and to get better at it. And it's not something that right from the start, as soon as you start marketing, you're instantly great at it. It is something like any podiatry skill that you currently have. It is no different. You have to just keep working on it over a period of time. And I'll guarantee you, the more you do it, like any other skill, the better you're going to get. And then when you do get good at it and you do understand it, if you choose you don't want to do the marketing anymore, then find somebody else who will do it for you, who will help you do it. So video 18 said, was say no. And it was really more about just learning to say no when things come your way. You don't have to say yes to every potential business proposition that is presented to you. I was talking to someone recently, and I'm not sure if I mentioned on this video or not, but they were asked if they wanted to set up a clinic in another town, like a satellite clinic. And it was a great opportunity. They said, that'd be fantastic. But when I spoke to them and said, well, what happens if somebody left that was working with you, they end up leaving? Would you still be able to cope and do that? And they went, oh, well, you know, that'd be really difficult. And I went, so really setting up the satellite clinic, and sometimes people do this, some podiatrists, some podiatry businesses almost have an affair on themselves, where they'll set up another clinic and really they're only seeing patients over there that they would have seen at their other clinic anyway. So the person didn't do it. And then not long after that, one of the people that were working with them left. Now, if they had taken on that other medical center, it really could have been devastating for them. And that's why I say it's okay to say no. Look at the opportunity, let the numbers make the decision for you, and then just move on. Number 19 was start a brain book. So I mentioned that I've been doing a brain book since April 14th, year 2000. So over 21 years now. And I have one here in front of me, my brain book. So if you happen to be watching the video, this is my brain book here for 2021. So I start a new brain book every year. And the whole idea of the brain book is to write down all your thoughts, ideas. If you're on an online event, you can take your notes in that. Any CPD notes, write it down there. I start a new one every year. And the best part about it is I constantly go back and I flick through the pages, a bit of sound effect. And it's surprising some of the thoughts that you have and some of the, like even online courses and that you'll do. If you take your notes and you keep them in one spot, instead of having all these notes scattered all over the place, which you will never, ever read. But these books, once you have your brain, stuff from here taken out and put it into that book, and you can draw pictures and diagrams and you can cut things out and you can stick it in there. Now, I know some people might say, oh, no, I'd rather just have an electronic version, keep it on my computer. That's how I like to roll. Well, that's great. And I have stuff on my computer as well. But I have more chance of going back to the brain book and looking through it than I will flicking my computer on when I'm somewhere. It's that the brain book is always with me. I carry it everywhere that I go. Any event that I go, I'll always have it. So if you ever see me at an event and say, Tyson, show us your brain book, more than likely it will be in my bag. Video 20 was research your coach. Now, if you don't know by now, I do podiatry business coaching. And if you haven't figured that out, I'll just tell you again, I do podiatry business coaching, one-on-one coaching, and I also run the 12-week podiatry business reboot, which is friggin' awesome if I haven't told you that already. And I think as a business coach, I like to think I am very good at what I do. And everybody I've worked with over the last couple of years, their businesses have all dramatically improved, which lets me know that what I'm doing is right. Now, I wasn't always a great business coach. I'd say really early on when I first started, just because I had a good business didn't necessarily mean I was a great coach at getting that information and sharing it. But as the years have gone on, my coaching skills have definitely improved. So video 20, research your coach, was about not just finding out, anyone can say that they're a good coach, but look at the points on the board. What have they done in their career? What successes have they had? And can they give you some names of people that they're currently coaching or have coached in the past who will say, yes, what they've done is great. Don't just go to, like, you can go to my website and you can read some testimonials, and yeah, there's going to be people on there that are going to say, I've done some great stuff. But I think what is important now is talk to the people that I work with now. Ask me for a name, I'll give it to you. Talk to those people and get a real life thing of what's happening right now. Because I've seen videos from some other coaching organizations, and it'll be on their website, and there'll be someone there and they've just had the conference that day and they're all pumped up. So they've got them in front of the cameras talking about how awesome the event was and how great these people are as coaches. But then I've known those people, and that video will be 2 or 3 years old, and go, oh, so you're still with that group? Oh, no, definitely not. It was sort of like, it was your cookie cutter approach. Nothing was tailor-made for my business. Yeah, no, it didn't work out. They moved on. So that's why I say, just research your business coach and find someone that you know that you can actually relate to, because you're going to build a relationship with that person over a period of time. And you want someone that you know that you can trust, and someone that you can easily talk to and have a little bit of fun along the way. So video 21 was my business is different. And what this video was about, or the point I was trying to make, was when you'll give somebody advice, or they will go to an event and somebody might be up on stage and they'll be talking. And this happened to me when I was actually in Liverpool. Somebody said to me afterwards, oh, that was all great what you said up there, Tyson, but my business is different. And I think my talk was on niching down your business, or finding that niche. And they would just tell me why the business is different and why that would not work. And I said, well, instead of thinking about why it doesn't work, why don't you ask yourself another question? How can this work for me? And some of the best ideas I ever had for my business, I got outside of podiatry, when I saw somebody else doing something and I went, well, that's a great idea. How can I make that idea work for me? And sometimes the initial idea might be crap. And what I do, I would write the idea down in my brain book. And then I would go back and look at that later on. And it could be 6 months later. Sometimes it could be 2 years later. I'll go to an old brain book, read down an idea, and I go, oh, now I can see how that can work for my business. So never say that my business is different. Everybody's business is different. Even podiatry clinics, the businesses are different, but a lot of the ideas can still be used. You just got to work it. How can you use that in your business? The video 23 was called Get Rich Quick. And it's one of these things where I don't believe podiatry is a get rich quick profession. Now, I know there's people in podiatry who have made a lot of money and are very well off. There's a lot of people. Yeah, my book, It's No Secret, There's Money in Podiatry. It's sitting there if you're watching the video. The book is not really about making money. The book is about having a good podiatry business. And if you set up a good podiatry business, the money will flow with it. But if you think you're doing podiatry because you're going to get rich quick, no, you won't. You will get rich slow, but you will make money long-term if you set up a good business. And if you're there sitting at just thinking, I want to find the next get rich quick scheme or idea, good luck. But to me, just put your head down and just get really good at what you do. I always believe if you're really good at what you do, and no matter where you set your business up, your reputation will help build that business. But you still need to have a good business that represents you. So you can be the best podiatrist in the world, but if your clinic looks like hell, it doesn't matter how good you are, people are walking and go, nah, it doesn't reflect the service that they're telling me that I'm going to get. So you need to have a well-running business on top of good clinical skills. Put those two things together. Long-term, you will make money, but you're definitely not going to get rich quick. Video 24 was be passionate. And really, what I was saying in this particular video was just whatever it is you're going to do, if you want to get better, you need to be passionate. And that applies to podiatry and it applies to all other aspects of your life. If you want to play the guitar, if you want to be a really good guitar player, get passionate about it. You'll become a better guitar player. You'll become a better drummer, exactly the same thing. You will become a better cook. You get passionate about it. I don't know if anyone here watches MasterChef or anything like that. I quite enjoy it myself. But when you watch the people that are really, that excel in that show or really good cooks, they are so passionate about food. And I think with podiatry, you've got to become passionate about podiatry. If there's a particular area of podiatry, you've got to get really passionate about it. Now, if you say you're a generalist and you like all areas of podiatry, that's great. Be passionate about being a generalist. I think it all just starts with passion. Video 25 was about just get professional help. And it's sort of related to the coaching area a little bit. What I was trying to explain is you'll have an accountant to do your tax returns. You'll have a lawyer when it comes to doing contracts. You'll use a financial advisor to help you invest your money if that's what you want to do. You'll get professional help in a lot of different areas. And the same as if a patient is having a foot problem, who would you say to see? Your friend across the road who owns a news agency or a podiatrist who is a professional. So get professional help. It's the same with your business. If it's marketing, get professional help. If you need business advice, get professional help. Stop trying to do everything yourself. What it does is slows you down. And I know some people want to just save money. Oh, no, I don't want to spend money on a coach. Oh, I don't want to talk to Tyson and get him to help me put together a marketing plan that could double my income in the next 2 to 3 years. No, they'd rather save the money and then drag it out for the next 10 years to get what they could have done in 2 years. So just get professional help. Like I always say, I don't care if it's with me, just get professional help in all the areas of your business where you think you need assistance on getting better. So video 26 was try new things. So I just think it's important to try different things, whether it's different food. If you've never had an oyster before, I don't like oysters. I like them cooked, but not raw. If you've never had an oyster, go and have an oyster. If there's different types of food you haven't had, try it. If there's something you've always thought about doing, getting on the back of a Harley, do it. Jump out of an aeroplane, bungee jump, go and swim with sharks, but be inside a cage. Be sensible about this. Just try different things. What happens is when you try different things, one, that opens your mind up to different things. And it's also like listen to podcasts that you normally wouldn't listen to. Just do different things. What it does, it makes you more interesting. When you try different things and you experience that, when when you're talking with your patients, you are far more interesting. And that's what I was trying to get through with that video, is try different things so you can become a better communicator and more interesting with your patients. Video 27 was called Stop and Celebrate. And I think sometimes we often, how can I put it? I don't think we stop and smell the roses enough. We have when we're setting up our businesses, or even if we've been around for 20, 30 years, there's still milestones that we reach that we sort of just go, oh yeah, no, that was fine. But you don't realize every little milestone needs to be celebrated. And if you've got a new team member, you may have been in business 20 years, you've got a new team member that's just joined with you and you've hit a new goal, you've reached a new height in a particular area. To you, it might be, oh, okay, that's just another thing that I've done. That's great. Tick the box. But for the new person that started your business, this is exciting. And they want to know that they're on a journey of moving forward. If you've just started your business, if it was your best month, celebrate your best month. If you've got a receptionist, go out for dinner somewhere. Just celebrate all the small milestones and just, I tell you, take photographs. And it's another tip. I didn't talk about this on any of the videos, but get a photo album. From the time you start your business, start putting photos in that photo album. I talk about this on the 12-week reboot, and you end up creating this memoir of, or history of your business. And when people start joining your team, people want to be part of a journey, and creating that photo album is a good idea. Video 28 was called Cancel Christmas. I think this may have been the most popular video out of them all. And what I was talking about canceling Christmas was, at Christmas time, all your professional referrers will be getting Christmas cards. They'll be getting bottles of wine. They'll be getting gift baskets. And I tell you right now, with some of your GPs, you're giving them a bottle of wine. Some of the medical reps from the pharmaceutical companies prior to COVID, they were sending them on trips. So don't think your little bottle of wine or your box of chocolates stands out amongst some of these pharmaceutical companies that give them a hell of a lot more. So what I was saying is, cancel Christmas. Don't worry about giving them something or giving them a Christmas card, because in the end, think of last Christmas yourself. When you think of all the cards and what you got, can you name the cards or the gifts that you got from everyone, unless they really, really stood out, were more expensive? So instead, pick a different day in the year to celebrate. So we used to do Australia Day. So we go Happy Australia Day. We've got bottles of wine done up. I've actually got the bottle of wine up here on my shelf that I showed in the video if you want to see it. And we celebrated Australia Day. Prior to that, we used to celebrate April the 14th because nobody else did. And we would attach a note saying, oh, happy April the 14th. The reason we celebrate April the 14th is because nobody else does. And at Podiatry, Podiatry, we like to stand out. That was how we basically did it. So cancel Christmas, pick another day to actually celebrate. It could be the anniversary of your business. It could be your birthday. It could be your wife's birthday. Just pick a day and do it. Video 29 was enjoy the journey. And what I was talking about here was, from the time you start podiatry right through to when you eventually retire or give it away, or you may change professions. Don't know why you would, but you might. But just enjoy the journey. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be, there's going to be ups. There's going to be downs, but just enjoy the process. And remind me, I think when I shot this video, my daughter was in the office with me, and she's been studying for chemistry. And she came to me and said, because she wants to be a vet, she said, with chemistry, did you ever really use it much in your day-to-day work as a podiatrist? And I went, well, me personally, no, but, and I sort of explained to her why you could possibly want to use it, depending on which direction you were going to go. And she went, okay, well, that's all I want to know. But I kept saying to her, I said, I know school at the moment might be difficult, but just enjoy the process, because one day you're going to look back at school and realize how much fun school was in comparison to other times in your life. And I think even when you were at uni and your whole working career, just enjoy the journey. It's like I said before, stop and smell the roses, stop and celebrate. It's just enjoy that process. And the last video that I did in my 30 videos for 30 days was write for patients. I thought this was a good one to finish on. Write for patients, not for other podiatrists. And what it was is I was on a podiatrist website, as I do. I'm always searching them, searching through them, seeing what everybody's doing, looking for blog articles, see who writes blogs and who doesn't write blogs. And I was reading this blog article on this one particular website, and I'm just going, my God, the words that they were using, this website was written for podiatrists, that they were so concerned that another podiatrist is going to stumble on the website and read it, and they didn't want to sound like they didn't know what they were talking about. Now, if I was a patient and I read it, I'd go, wow, they really know what they're talking about, but I have no idea what they're talking about. So when you're writing something, if it's a patient you're trying to attract, then make sure you write it so a patient could understand it. They don't need to know what. I'm not even going to give examples of some of the words that were actually used in this particular website, but I'm thinking there's no way the average person on the street would even know half the words that this person had written in or on their website, in their blog articles. So write for patients, don't write for other podiatrists. So that is the summary of the 30 videos I did in 30 days. I enjoyed the process. It's something that I might do it every year. I might do 30 videos in 30 days once a year, just to sort of mix things up a little. Or at least now I'm going to get back into just doing a video at least once a week and just share an idea or a thought. But I think it's something yourself is just set yourself a challenge. Like going right back to this, all started with me in an accountability session with the Podiatry Business Spartans on what was my goal going to be for the month? Let's just challenge myself, do something different. That's how the 30 videos in 30 days came up. So I hope you get something. I hope you pick up at least 1 or 2 points from this. If any feedback, I always say, send me an email, tf@tysonfranklin.com. If you're loving the podcast, if you're enjoying it, tell all your podiatry friends. Give us a review on iTunes. Would be fantastic. The more people that review the show, the more social proof it gives to everybody that is worth listening to. The next episode next week, I will have a guest on. It's going to be Dr. Fern Caslow. She is a psychotherapist in New York City. She charges an amazing amount of money to do sessions with people. She only works with like the top 1% of business owners in New York City. So she charges big bucks. However, her and I have become really, really good friends. So I've got her on the show next week. And it is titled, I'll tell you right now what the title is. I do have it written down. It is going to be called Top of Your Field. So that is an episode you don't want to miss. One last thing, the next 12-week Podiatry Business Reboot is kicking off in about 4 weeks' time, I think. 4 weeks, can be 3 weeks' time by the time you listen to this. So if you feel your business needs a reboot, whether you've been in business 1 year or 30 years, come over to my website, tysonfranklin.com. Find the 12-week reboot, click on there, get the information, get registered, and join in the next group. So that's it for me this week, guys and girls. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you took something away from this. And as I always say, look after yourself, look after your family, and I will talk to you next week. Bye for now.